Hey everybody, how's it going? My name's Mayuko and welcome back to my channel. So as a productivity slash lifestyle slash career YouTuber or whatever I am, who often talks about navigating life and how to deal with it, I get why you might expect me to sit here and tell you that I have life all figured out and that you should listen to me because I know what I'm doing and always have. You might even think that I have things figured out because that's just what you assume about other people, about YouTubers and quote-unquote successful people. I get why you might think that, but that's not me. More importantly, it's just not true. In fact, now more than ever, I have no idea what I'm doing. Before we continue, I wanted to say a quick thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. I'm actually so excited that BetterHelp is sponsoring this very video because part of the story is about therapy and mental health. And I think it's safe to say that I wouldn't be who I am today in overcoming anxiety episodes and panic attacks and stuff without the help of a trained professional to help me understand my mind. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist, and you can start communicating within 48 hours. It's not a crisis line, it's not self-help, it's actually professional counseling done securely online. There's a really broad range of expertise in BetterHelp's 15,000 plus counselor network, which may not be locally available in many areas. The service is available for clients worldwide, and you can log into your account anytime and send a message to your counselor. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses, plus you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions, and they're committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change counselors if needed. It's actually more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. BetterHelp wants you to start living a healthier and happier life today, so make sure to go to betterhelp.com/Mayuko, that's BetterHelp, and join the over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. They're actually giving a special offer for all of my subscribers, so you can get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/Mayuko. Last year, I left a career in tech to pursue becoming a content creator and YouTuber full-time. It's been going really well, but it's also felt really foreign to me in a way that I have trouble putting into words. So, as you can probably guess, I've been spending a lot of time thinking about this because introspection is my hobby. You see, in my old career, whenever I would interview for a job as a software engineer, they would sometimes ask me something like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And back then, that was easy for me to answer. The tech world has kind of an established standard job path, and things often followed the same patterns. So I basically had 3 options to choose from. One was to continue being a software engineer, the second was to become a manager, and the third was to become a tech lead or an architect of some sort. And they were perfectly legitimate careers. But I just remembered not being particularly excited by any of them. The best way that I could describe it is that they were just kind of vanilla. They weren't bad necessarily. Vanilla is a perfectly valid and good flavor of ice cream, obviously. It was just really standard, kind of uninspiring to me. But their vanilla-ness didn't register to me as something that really mattered in my decision. They were just the choices that I was given, like everybody else around me. Subconsciously, I was probably yearning for something like Rocky Road or Hot Fudge or something, just something different. But at that point, I hadn't even realized that those things had existed. I thought that for me, the vanillas were all I had to choose between. Honestly, ever since I declared my major in computer science, my freshman year of college, up until last year, it felt like I was walking down a well-worn path. I was surrounded by people just like me, all walking the same direction. All people would talk about was how there were a million jobs in our industry and how things were always growing. And deviating from that path that we were all walking on was seen as kind of a risky and unconventional decision. So there were these preset steps on that path that everybody would follow. Get an internship, find a job as a junior software engineer, put 3 years of work in, move up to senior engineer, and so on. And I think it's only natural that the earlier you are in your career, the more that you're gonna follow trails like that. When you're just getting started and you're learning as you go and you're trying to grow in your career, it just makes sense to take others' leads on those things. And so it made sense to me at the time. I always thought that you needed to have like a goal or like a destination for your path in life. Like if you didn't even know where you were gonna end up, then it wasn't even worth it to start. So I defined my own life and career goals based on what others had told me to do and based on what others had done before me. It felt like it was the right thing for me to do because it was the right thing for them. Of course, it wasn't easy to do all those things, like it was hard work, but it was also just like kind of expected, if that makes sense. Anyone who wanted to stay in tech long term would benefit from following these steps. That's why being a content creator has felt weird in a lot of ways to me. YouTube and creative work is just different. There aren't interviews or like starter jobs to like get a handle on things. I guess there are technically like coworkers, but they're often just pictures on a computer screen, and you're still alone a lot of the time, especially when you're starting out. Finding success in tech definitely requires some luck, especially when you're finding your first job. But the path after that just tends to be a lot more predictable. When it comes to content creation, success always comes and goes, completely by chance, or even accidentally. You never really know when or why opportunities come. It feels like the universe just randomly decides to throw them at you for factors you will never understand, and you just kind of have to be ready at all times. So the idea of like random luck type success isn't super new to me, but I was surprised at just how much unpredictability and ambiguity there is in YouTube because there's like no roadmap or rules or anything. It's like the Wild West, like it just makes no sense sometimes. What I'm trying to say is none of this was like according to plan or was part of any plan that I had. And that was all in stark contrast to my software engineering career. Don't get me wrong, it was really exciting, but it was also a little loose and erratic. Like the rhythms were just different. There were fewer conventions to follow. And all of a sudden, I just realized I was so unprepared to be a content creator. I had no idea how difficult creative work is. I barely took any creative classes in college. I just never even thought to quote unquote work on creativity or being creative because everything I had done was to get a degree and career in STEM. But all of a sudden, I needed to learn how to adapt to creative work, like learning how to edit, set up cameras and lighting equipment, and design thumbnails. Over time, I started to feel more confident in my initial creative skills, and I started having fun with it. I saw the impact that I could make online. I started to dream about the possibility of making videos full-time and leaving my job in tech. And eventually, I knew in my heart that this is what I really wanted to do. But coming from a job where I had things to hold on to for safety, the thought of doing so was really scary. Like in my old jobs, we used to have managers and supervisors that helped us along our paths, and resources like leveling guides that literally outline expectations for skills and responsibilities at different career stages step by step. They don't have that sort of thing in content creation. No YouTuber has ever consulted a PDF about what to expect when they hit 500,000 subscribers or whatever. So even though I was finding a lot of fulfillment in my work in YouTube, I just kept feeling this like really powerful feeling that even if I gave this career jump my all, nothing was guaranteed. Like there was no floor or safety net beneath me. And the future was suddenly so murky. Like, would I still be making YouTube videos like 5 years from now? What even would the landscape of like the internet and the online world and tech even look like? Envisioning content creation as a career felt like I was looking into this like deep, dark, murky pit. So dark that I couldn't even see the bottom of it. And all of that unknown about my life and the future directly fed straight into my anxiety about everything. Full disclosure, I've had anxiety for years now, and all of these life changes kind of just made it more intense. For years, my instinct when I had anxiety was to just like brace against it and fight it. And that was the natural reaction to all of this ambiguity. But this is when I learned one of the most valuable lessons about my anxiety. My therapist taught me that if I fight my anxiety, it'll only come back bigger. That concept was so difficult for me to grasp at first. It's just so counterintuitive. why wouldn't you fight it? Like, I didn't want to have anxiety, obviously. So what? You're supposed to just like let it flow through you and take over and do whatever it wants? So the natural instinct is to fight it. And I would resist it with all of my might. I would thrash against it. But every time the same thing would happen, it would just get worse. My therapist compared it to standing on the beach as waves come at you and trying to fight them as they crash around you. These waves are made up of your obstacles and anxieties coming from all different places, like work or family or your emotions. And if you try to stand still and resist them, and especially if you try to fight or think your way out of them, you're eventually gonna get worn down and knocked over and thrown around. Like when I'm fighting against my own brain and trying to make sense of conflicting signals and intrusive thoughts and nervousness and all of these things, a bunch of new Notion documents or to-do lists or strategic planning sessions aren't gonna do the trick in keeping me grounded and at peace. I understand now that it's just much easier to stop resisting and to ride with your anxiety and the waves it makes and just go with the flow. Ever since I tried this approach, things have been better. It's all helped me kind of untangle the problem and, in a lot of ways, let go. I realized that I may not be able to make my anxiety go away completely or make bad things not happen, but I can learn to live with them. I think I just had to let go of the instinct to hold on tightly to my plans and goals and control things so rigidly. I feel like you actually limit yourself and your experiences when you're holding on so desperately. It was like I was squeezing my eyes shut the whole time. I had to open them to realize I wasn't even allowing myself to live my life. My life has possibilities that I hadn't even dreamed existed, and I couldn't even see them. So now, instead of walking around blind, I try to see the world for what it is and not torture myself for worrying about everything. This whole process has made me feel more okay with ambiguity. Maybe that thing will happen, maybe it won't. I'll be riding the wave either way. A year ago, my goals were, in one way or the other, defined by others. Now, I'm on my own. My goals and dreams are my own and designed by me. My successes and failures are my own. Now I understand what I want for my own life, and my new outlook has helped me to realize that sometimes it's just as simple as getting good sleep, having a comfy place to call home, spending time with family, good food, and laughter. Honestly, I would say now that I'm probably the most me I've been in a very long time. I feel super fortunate that I get to do exactly what I want to do in a city that I love and put energy into the things and people I love most and make a living doing it. I've just realized that life is like a big choose your own adventure book with a million different blank paths for you to choose. And one of the best and most fun parts of those books is the surrender to the process. You don't totally know the consequences of each choice, but you know that some of them will be compelling and will take you somewhere fulfilling. And also, you can always look up in the middle of the book and be like, I don't like where this adventure is going today. Maybe I don't want to go on a jungle adventure. I just prefer the idea of setting sail on an adventure where I don't know what might happen, rather than setting sail for like a normal island kind of nearby that everybody tells me is really nice and they gave me the map already and stuff. It's called charting your own course for a reason, you know? And part of what that means is that I literally have to chart my own path where it didn't exist before. My position as a YouTuber and the niche that I'm filling literally didn't exist before me. I don't have a roadmap, and it is fucking hard a lot of the time. Like, I'm a 100% self-taught content creator. I didn't even know how to work a camera a couple years ago. But I know now that there's just so much that I haven't experienced out in this ocean. I realized during my short time making videos that there's just literally so much that I had no idea even existed. But even that feels exciting. Like, I'd rather be open to the possibilities than to turn them away. And I know that even though it's gonna be a fun adventure, that doesn't mean that it's gonna be easy. It's probably gonna be more difficult. But any struggle will still be underlined with the fact that this is all my journey. A lot of it is just about honoring my own feelings, which a lot of the time means facing fear, finding a way to move on, then reflecting on what I've learned. At least that's the process I've managed to work out so far. So instead of getting stuck on what scares me, I'm working to adjust my perspective to focus on the possibilities that this position affords me and letting things flow from that positivity. That feels more productive than letting the difficulties hit me head on and dwelling on them. It feels like everything has changed for me ever since I changed my perspective to think in this way. The world looks different and feels less intense. So I don't know where I'm headed or frankly what I'm even doing a lot of the time, but for the first time in my life, I'm okay with that. I'm here in the dark, deep end of the ocean without a map, and I feel good. I know it's where I should be, even though I still don't know what I'm doing.